Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Berkcast, the How to Train Your Dragon podcast. I'm your host, HC, and with me are.
Rush 2112.
And Voyager, hello.
Hey, everyone, and today, eh, or to be more exact, on the week break we took, it was announced that Dragon's Race to the Edge is getting renewed for a fifth season. And
Indeed.
just to clarify this, by a fifth season we mean a 26 episode season, not 13 as I released them. Just so we're clear on that.
Uh, Numerically, that means that we will still have the season that comes out potentially, as we do not know yet, potentially January, December, and then it'll have another summer and then another winter set of episodes after that,
Exactly.
to clarify.
Yep. So it will be 5 seasons overall, but if you count each 13 episodes or one season, it will be 8 seasons overall, which is really impressive for an animated show these days.
Mm-hmm. I'm actually thankful that Netflix is allowing it. Just on terms of just how I react to how long this show has lasted in general. I think it's pretty awesome that it's going on, and we're getting a new season because that gives them so much longer to to emphasize stuff, and I think it's kind of a good thing because I feel like the way they left it off, with the cliffhanger at the end of the second season, technically second season, right?
You're talking about the January episodes or the last bunch?
The last bunch,
Okay.
because this is the beginning of season 2, uh, of Race to the Edge. When they say the fifth season, they mean because Riders of Berk, Defenders of Berk, those are 1 and 2. Then first
Yes.
season of Race to the Edge, then second season of Race to the Edge, which we're currently in the middle of, and then the next one will be the fifth. So, back to where I was, I feel like if they only had the last 13 episodes remaining, I don't know. It kind of feels like they do a lot of like quick related stuff just to the Dragon Hunters, and they wouldn't get to do more exploring, which I really liked that about last season. They talked a lot of, or they had a lot of new dragons, new places to go, and stuff like that. And I think that was pretty fun about last season. So if they have a whole another season to do that, then I think they can ease it out a little bit more. Although one thing I don't want them to ease out is Hickstrid.
Yes.
That needs to ramp up a bit if we're gonna tie
Yeah,
this to How to Train Your Dragon too.
Yeah,
basically.
that's pretty much a whole different subject, but yeah, I think they drag this out for way too much. Especially because we know where they are after this, so
Yeah, what's
Okay.
taking them so long?
yeah. Eh, Actually, a bit of a tangent. I have this friend at high school who her and her boyfriend were exactly the same. You know they were going to get together, but for some reason they didn't for a whole year.
Oh, it was
So
just awkwardness for the whole year.
something like that, and watching Hiccup and Astrid on the show kind of reminds me on that.
So,
But
Voyager, your thoughts on just the extension to the season, just general?
I think my biggest general thought is I hope that the story doesn't go on too long. I get what you're saying in that they'll be able to wrap up things a little bit neater now because we've introduced all these new characters and dragons. But at the same time, I don't want this to be an excuse for them just to like start throwing in a ton of new people and a ton of new stuff just for the sake of throwing it in and dragging out the show. I'd like for I don't know. I just would like for it to
Not overdo itself, right?
yeah, not overdo it. Keep it to kind of what you have almost because we still have a lot of questions about the um I call them the dragon ninjas. I don't remember what the tribe's
Defenders of
actual
the
name
Wing.
is.
yeah,
Yeah, the
Dragon
defenders of
Ninja.
the wing.
Man, Dragon Ninja sounds like the best idea for a show ever. I will watch that.
Yeah. Well, they had that. It was wasn't it Jake the Dragon or something like that? I'm just
I
kidding.
have no idea what you're talking about, but
it's an
okay.
old
Go
show.
on, Voyager, sorry.
Sorry.
Actually, Jake the Dragon. I think that was like an early Disney Channel
It was.
animated thing. Yeah, man, nostalgia right there.
I
Yeah.
haven't heard of
Um,
it, so talk
Probably
about
only
it if you
America.
want. I'll just listen and draw impressions.
It's alright.
all right.
Okay,
Um,
so
yeah.
in terms of me, I think it's pretty exciting that it's lasting so long. Like I said, technically 8 seasons, even 5. It's longer than usual for animated shows, especially at this point in time. I think the longest running animated show, not Simpsons or Family Guy or South Park, is the original TMNT, the 80s one, and that was 10 seasons. So
Yeah.
the
How
fact
long
was,
has sorry, how long has Adventure Time been going on? That's been
uh,
going on for quite a while.
I think 5 as well. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah, I guess seasons versus years because they really don't have many distinguishing ending. So that's a good point.
Yeah, so the fact we reached 5 seasons, which is half of the original, and actually the current TMNT is also set for 5 seasons so far. So that just shows how popular the show is, and that's great for us.
Yeah, I think it's great that it's also on Netflix. This is kind of the whole. Is it good on cable? Is it good on Netflix? I think it's great on Netflix because um, Netflix they're smart about how they run things, about how they renew seasons. They say this is good, this is not good. Cable, they're like cable is mostly based off actually sales of figures and stuff like that. That's how they
Yes.
rule their numbers. So even if it gets
And
great popular
and
viewership,
ratings because how much people watch the commercials in between, and that brings them money. So
yeah, exactly. So like Young Justice, just comparing to How to Train Your Dragon, it was popular with the older kids, right? But the problem with Young Justice was being on the cable. It was the deal with it was based. Its new season, the third season, which never happened, was based off of sales of figurines. Well, the older kids that watched it and really liked it, we're old. We don't buy that stuff, right? It's for little kids, so it fell off. How to Train Your Dragon, The Race to the Edge. It's not based on that. It's based on actual viewership and subscription people who watch it. So there you go. It's just that's how Netflix does it, and that's why it's been able to run this long. And I like it like that.
yep. Okay, so if that's all for that, what, now that we have more episodes to come, how much more of a connections to the movies, specifically How to Train a Dragon 2, would you like to see? Like we saw how Hiccup created the Fire Sword and his wingsuit. We saw how Stuik met Skullcrusher and how Gogo met Grump. What more connections would you like to see to that? What more origins, I guess you can say?
You can take this one first, Voyager.
I would start with Hickstrid. I think I could just summarize that what I want in one word right there. Hickstrid needs to be a thing before we end the show. And then personally, I don't think they need to draw that many more connections. I think it in the show, at least to me, it feels a little bit forced when they're trying to tie stuff in. So like, I think it's cool how the Dragon Blade originated as the thing they were using to try and train a death song, but the wingsuit in particular felt really forced. It was just kind of like
There
a
was
filler
one line
episode.
in the first Race to the Edge season which I agree with you on, but the rest it was decent, I think. But yeah,
Yeah,
go
so
on.
I don't know. Just the original wingsuit episode felt really forced to me, and I don't really want more forcedness if that's the way that they're going to try and tie that in.
Yeah, they definitely learned their lesson in trying to force things. I think it was actually a pretty good idea how they brought in the just the monstrous nightmare gel, as opposed to that, which they eventually tied it into becoming part of Hiccup's sword. Right? They didn't immediately just say, "Hey, I need a wingsuit." With which when they first fell off in the very first episode, Hiccup threw that cheesy line, "I'm gonna need my own pair of wings."
No,
It's
no,
like,
no. That was passable, but there was that episode with what's name?
I don't.
Gustav. That's his name.
Oh
And the
yeah,
episodes they had with him, they pulled it again, but it's like the climax of the episode. The Hiccup and Toothless get separated. He comes back. I really need to come up with my own pair of wings in case this will happen to us again.
yeah. That
Right
was
as
the
we know.
forced. Yeah, it's like
And
we get it. You're gonna have the wings by the end of the season.
yeah, I actually had a discussion about that with a friend once, and he said to me, "The Star Wars prequels do it all the time. I never watch them, so if anyone wants to comment on that, is it true?"
um, yeah, they I think they do it. I can't remember what scenes, but it does sound
Yeah,
right
so
about there.
I heard that compared to that, it's not that bad, but it felt so forced.
Yeah. On terms of what Voyager said, just in connections, I think this is the point where they tie it back. Because honestly, if we think about it, this is kind of if the fifth season is the last season, that is. Um, I'm going to talk about this in terms of Race to the Edge. So 1, 2, 3 seasons of Race to the Edge. This is the peak that we just ended. That's the very middle. It's halfway through season 2, and you start off with them. So I think it'd be nice if they come with a downslope of the nothing being added, if a little bit, maybe another dragon here or there, right? Everybody loves a new dragon, right?
Yeah.
We will get to see the Reptodon. So that's one thing that we will get to see next season, right? But we'll talk about that later. Um, and just so we get to see the Defenders of the Wing. I don't think they should add any new tribes because that'll just be a whole nother plot line that we probably don't need. They'll need to close out the story with the Dragon Hunters, and that'll be little bits here and there, especially since they are renewing it for the fifth season. The only thing that they might add a little bit more is just more Drago-related hints, not actual huge plot lines, but just tidbits here and there. Because the first episode of this second season of Race to the Edge, they had the brand that was the same that was on Errett. Then they also had the hooded man, who was people. I don't know. I'm not saying. I think he's a representative of Drago. Some people were saying it was Drago, and I don't think they'd do that in the season.
No,
But
don't
yeah,
think so.
don't think so either.
But the connections between the Dragon Hunters and Drago is a subject on its own, so
Yeah, it's
I
purely
get what
business,
you
in my
mean.
opinion.
Let's close it at that because we can fill an entire episode on that.
Yeah,
So,
they don't need to. Basically, the only thing that I could really see as them making a connection to now is what Voyager said. They've basically done everything else at this point. Or one thing that I would like to see is crap, I forgot what it was. I think it's like just their character model changes. Maybe you could add the different clothes to them or something in the different seasons. I don't know. It's always cool to see the new character models, right?
Yes. Okay, so to me, in terms of connection, there's one thing that's been bothering me, and it's the fact that when How to Train Your Dragon 2 starts, there's this competition between Snoutlout and Fishlegs over who wins Ruffnut's heart. However, as of now, Snoutlout is still trying to get Astrid, although that kind of changed in the last season, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the Hatter and Fishlegs relationship, which is beginning. It's nothing big yet, but you know what I mean. And last season there was an episode where Fishlegs accidentally married Ruffnut, and she was into him, but he wasn't into her. So what happened? How did this competition start? That's something I would like to see, not have to, but I would like to see them explore that. What started this competition?
I can guarantee that they'll probably get Hiccup and Astrid together in the next batch of 13 episodes, and that will trigger Fishlegs.
Because that seems to be their promise every new season. They will get there,
Yeah.
but
I don't know. They teased it way too much this season with the development, but yeah. On that terms, I think that'll like trigger Snotlout to try and go for Rough Nut, and then whatever will happen to Fish Legs and Heather happens. I don't know what's gonna happen. I have my own theory, but we can save that for later, because everybody has
Okay.
a theory, right? Um, and then Fish Legs decides, oh, I have no girlfriend now. Oh, I was once married to Rough Nut. So I can guarantee they'll probably have a filler somewhere in the 5th season that's just them going for Rough Nut.
Probably. Okay, so um, now that the show has been renewed for a fifth season, if there is a possibility of a sixth season, do you think it's a good idea? Voyager, you start.
Um, I think I'm probably just going to sound a little bit redundant in that I just hope that if they do continue it, there's a reason to, and that the quality of the show stays quality, you know?
Yes.
I don't want them to keep making seasons just to keep making money. I'd like there to be a solid story, and it feels like there's a purpose in them continuing it. Like there's something really big that was left open that they need to answer before we get to the second movie, or just something that makes it worthwhile and not just 20 something filler episodes.
Yeah.
And Raj, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, I would, on the terms of Race to the Edge, 6th season no-go, but 6th season of Dragons, if they somehow make it post How to Train Your Dragon 2, between the second and third, even though I remember Dean saying something along the lines of How to Train Your Dragon 3 will take place really close after How to Train Your Dragon 2, or we'll also have the book, the graphic novel, coming out in February.
Yeah,
Allegedly February.
I believe the graphic novel is the one that happens right
Immediately after. Yeah, so if it's like that after, maybe they're gonna have to create some sort of conflict. I mean, that's how you do it with any sort of TV show, right? At first season it was Dagger got out. Second season of Race to the Edge, it was Dragon Hunters and Dagger. So it's kind of they kind of have to make a whole new issue at that point, which they
Yeah,
could
and
go either way.
how
So
far can they really stretch our disbelief that they haven't met Valka yet, even though they've been on these faraway
Yeah.
lands?
yeah. So in terms of Race to the Edge, 6th season, so a 4th season of Race to the Edge, I wouldn't want it. I just think it would be too far stretched at that point.
Yeah, so I agree with you guys, but there's another thing that will bug me personally. If there will be a sixth season, it will most likely happen after How to Train Your Dragon 3. And
Oh yes.
I mean, not chronologically, but in terms of release date, it will air after the third movie. And since the third movie is the final one, it's the concluding chapter. After this, it's over, pretty much. It will ruin that finale feeling, if you know what I mean.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
So that will ruin it for me personally. Of course, I can just not watch it and pretend it doesn't exist, but I can't do that. I'll have to see what they came up with, and personally, it will ruin it for me, but I prefer if they'll stop right there, because then it bridges us perfectly into How to Train a Dragon 3, because the last batch of episodes will probably be January 2018, which is a few months before the movie actually comes out.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. Yeah, I also forgot about chronologically, or in terms of release date. That would definitely, because they tend to stay along the June 24th or 26th, so it's going to be somewhere along there. And if the third movie comes out May 28th, I believe, of 2018, then that release date of the 6th season would come out too late. Although, on that note, that means that the last season of Race to the Edge, 5th season of Dragons, and 3rd season of Race to the Edge, the last batch of 13 episodes will come out, excuse me, will come out 2018, I believe, right? Yeah, it'll come out January 2018 or December 2016. So
Yeah, like I
pretty
said,
close.
Yeah,
It'll keep us going throughout the rest of this the year until we hit that third movie.
yeah, and we also have the graphic novels. Hopefully, whenever they come out.
Yeah.
And okay, so the next thing I would like to ask you, what characters would you like to see returning in the next season? I think we can all possibly agree Vigo.
Oh yeah. Um, One thing that some people were bothered about was just how Vigo kept saying he was a businessman, and they're like, that's not who he is. But he is a businessman. All he does is catches dragons and sells them. And this is probably not actually an unpopular opinion. That's like they made him out. They wanted him to be just a devious villain, kind of like Drago, but it kept him realistic, in my opinion. He was just a businessman trying to do business things. Sure, the
Yeah,
practices were not
there's
right.
the line which everybody also draw the connection between him and Drago that
Yeah, unlike some people.
I don't like to rule the world as opposed to other people.
Yeah,
So yeah,
and
he's
it's just
just
like
doing his job.
exactly. So I'd like to return and see him just more in depth as like we know he's smart and we know he has all the power and he's really devious and stuff. And you can continue to sell him as a businessman, but we can also show like um, just how he treats his brother. Like we see that, but I want to see if Riker can take it anymore. I'd like to see that happen. See if Riker starts to get angry at his brother and actually do something about it.
Yeah, we saw it with Dagger and Hatter. We saw
Mhm.
their sibling relationship. This could be something.
And yeah, so characters returning, definitely, obviously Vigo. I'd like to at least learn about Malo. What the heck is her deal? And they were up to Dawn. I
Well,
think that
they're
if
obviously returning because we need to see
yeah,
how
we need
that
them.
cliffhanger. But what after the cliffhanger? Like, will they be reckoning characters? That's the
Yeah, that's.
question.
I think they, man, if they're gonna help him clean up with the Dragon Hunters, they're probably gonna be through the fifth season. But I don't know how you can just keep bringing them in, unless obviously they finally make their decision on is Hiccup good or evil, right?
Yeah.
And then just their standard characters. Definitely like to see Gobber use Grump because they kind of just threw Grump in there at the last second. But other than that, I think Voyager. I know one character you'd like to see return, so I'm gonna let you get on that.
What are you?
I know
How did you know?
I don't know. Just a guess.
I honestly, if you're talking about Dagger, which I'm like, 99.9% sure that you are,
You're
I'm not
99%
sure.
correct.
I'm not sure that I want to see him return. I've said it, I don't
Oh.
know, several different times in several different ways. If you look at it, he has been in the show longer than any other character that is not in the movies, right? He was there kind of early in the first season of Writers of
Writers of
Berk.
Berk,
He
yeah.
was for one
Yeah.
episode, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, and then he's kept coming back and coming back, and he's had his highs, which I would call Defenders of Berk, with all of his quirky lines and the laugh and just over
Oh
the top
yes.
villain. And then I really didn't like him at the beginning of Race to the Edge. He took on like this narcissism that I was really repulsed at, and I mean, I don't know, he was a villain. I suppose I was supposed to hate him, but I loved him up until that point. And then
You're
he
supposed
had
to
the
love to
redeem.
hate him, and you didn't
Yeah,
get it.
no. And then the whole redeeming arc in this last one, it left everybody in a good place, I think. So there, in some ways, I'm kind of I kind of hope that he's retired. It was a sad way to go, but at the same time, he's been around for a really long time, and he kind of deserves it. He's had, a whole arc at this point, and I don't know
Hmm.
where else they would take him.
Well, I was
Yeah,
completely wrong, and I will admit it. But that is a great point you brought up.
yeah, because I also said it before. Like he, if he was supposed to go out, he went out with a bang. And
Absolutely.
this was like we remember him for being for sacrificing himself for the greater good, and he left on a good note. And maybe bringing him back will be too much.
Yeah.
It will push it.
Also, this kind of bringing it back. This does remind me of that theory of how Heather and Fish Lakes break up. I think Heather if Dagger is completely gone, if he doesn't come back, who's going to lead the Berserkers? Well, Heather is, and I think that's how they send her off in the end, and keep her out of How to Train Your Dragon 2.
Yeah,
That's my idea on how
yeah,
that's how you get rid of her.
That's kind of a sub-subject I want to bring up. What do you guys will happen to Heather? So, Rush, we heard you. Voyager, do you have anything to add?
Not particularly. I would say that I agree with Rush, and honestly, I don't care that much for Heather. She's kind of become a little bit more tolerable in the latest batch of episodes, but I don't know. I didn't really like the thing where she became Dagger's sister, and it was just kind of seemed like it was thrown in there. They've made it work. They really have. But at the same time, I've never really cared for her or about her.
Yeah,
You know,
sorry, Heather.
just
I agree with you that it was like the one night the writers decided to drink while they wrote something, and they decided, hey, why not make Ether and Dagger brothers, siblings? And
yeah.
they went for that.
Just
hey,
a real quick thing. Sorry. Just in Defenders of Berk, or I think it was Defenders of Berk, the Night and the Fury episode.
Yes, that was
When
the
Hiccup
final.
has a shield, Dagger says, "That's a very nice shield." Ornate. My sister had one like that. So I feel like they said, "Hey, we said he had a sister, right? What if it was Heather?" So they kind of have that thing going, right? But it's just like they just said, "Hey, let's make it a character that we know." So I kind of agree with
Well,
you. It's just,
I have another question for you. Where is Heather's shield, man? Where
well,
is
do you
it?
remember in the flashback when she was playing with her dad's shield? And she's like, "Oh, I
Yes.
don't think I was supposed to play with it."
Oh my god.
No, but that wasn't her shield. That was her dad's shield. Where is her
I know.
ornate shield?
I know it's just one of the things of writing, but I think they took that idea of Dagger having the sister saying that and made it into the actual thing.
Yeah, and who knows? She
Yeah.
could have lost it.
Yeah.
That's
I don't mind
the
it as much as
jerky way out.
Yeah.
What
I
did
don't
you
mind
say?
it as much as I seem to, but it's just kind of funny to laugh about.
Yeah.
It is. No,
Yeah,
it's funny.
I actually mentioned it to Rush when we recorded episode 2.1. Somebody once said that if Hiccup helmet is made of Valka's breastplate, why isn't her breast the size of Hiccup's head?
Yeah, that was just a funny thing right there. But
Yeah.
that's then we all responded like Hiccup did when he found out. It's like,
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so okay, another bit of a thing I just improvised. Are there any new characters you want to see? Because personally, I think we have enough. We have enough to fill the rest of the seasons.
yeah, they don't really introduce anybody new in the second movie other than like Eret and Valka. No, there's no like main characters that came out of nowhere that are with the group already, so they don't have to bring anybody in. I could see them making a hint towards Valka, like somebody says to Vigo, "Sir, the Dragon Rider, like not riders, the Dragon Rider released some of her dragons." He's like Hiccup, and he's like, "No, the other one." I could see that happening,
Yeah,
but I don't
actually,
think they should bring anything in like that.
yeah, actually, you know what? Have you guys seen in the How to Train a Dragon 2 deleted scenes the original opening where Valka frees the dragons from Eret's
Eret's
cages?
base.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They could possibly work something like that in, but I'll keep it for a further point because we'll probably get to it. So we'll talk about that later. And now I want to ask you, now that the show is renewed, do you think the next bunch of episodes, which will be probably released in January of 2017, do you think that now that the series is renewed, do you think we will get another cliffhanger like previous season?
Voyager.
I think I saw enough people that said they disliked the cliffhanger in this batch of episodes that if they
I'm not
have
talking
it in
about. I am talking about the episodes from January, not June.
Well, yeah, but she was saying that she heard people talking about how they didn't like this cliffhanger, so they
Oh,
wouldn't do it
okay.
again, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So sorry. Go on.
It's all right. Like I was saying, yeah, I just saw enough people that said that they didn't like this cliffhanger that if it's in their power, to change it right now, like in the interest of the fans, I doubt they would do another one, another major one. I don't mind there being mysteries at the end of a season, but it is kind of, I don't know, it felt a little bit cheap just to leave it at Mala saying, "I'm gonna kill all you. Goodbye."
But
Yeah.
now that we have the 5th season, it's okay because we know that they'll take their time to explain it as opposed to just clearing it
Right.
up and
Yeah. Actually, yeah, that's some. Maybe it will come back later in the next season or the fifth one. But we kind of saw that there might be other Night Furies, and they never played with that idea. For
I first,
they won't find any, and I don't think they should reference it anyway and race the edge, other than saying, are there more out there, but like that.
yeah, I think the idea is too big to explore in the show that not everyone that watched the movies is watching currently.
yeah,
Even though the
and
show is very popular, it's not everyone who watched the movies. And if you're going to bring something that big in, like there's another Night Fury, it's going to be something you explore in a movie and not in the show.
yeah, and also now I remember in the beginning of two, there's a point where Akap asks Toothless, "Who knows? Maybe we'll find another Night Fury." So
Yeah,
chronologically, it won't make any sense.
exactly. And they're definitely good at keeping, I mean, obviously nothing that happens in the TV show will be referenced in the movies. But they're good about keeping it somewhat canon,
Yeah.
I'd say.
Okay, so in terms of another cliffhanger, do you guys think there won't be one? It will just end, or there might be a small one, a teaser.
I think there will be a lead into season 5 of Just Dragons, because they kind of did that with the end of season 1 of Race to the Edge. Man, I'm so bad about going between just Race to the Edge seasons and just overall seasons. Sorry for anybody who's listening.
It's the same show, basically. It's the same cast.
Yeah,
It's the same
I'm just
crew.
gonna-
So
Yeah, I'll just from now on I'm just gonna reference season 1, 2, 3 as the Race to the Edge seasons. So Race to the Edge season 1, the end of it was basically the dragon hunters leaving and Hiccup getting mad. So that kind of was a lead to season 2. That wasn't a cliffhanger like people complained about. That was just a lead into the next season. So I think they'll probably do another lead in. I hope it's not as cliffhangery as obviously a cliffhanger, but I'd like it to be something that leaves that we still have to do this. I personally think it will be them having. I think they'll have the Dragon Eye by the end of this season currently, but they'll still need to stop the dragon hunters. Like, oh, we have the Dragon Eye, but Vigo's still out there. Cut to black.
yes, but what I wanted to ask, because technically the fourth season was supposed to be the last one. I mean, Race to the Edge season 2. The next bunch of episodes were supposed to be the final episodes. After this, the show is over. So, do you think they might rewrite it? That's my question.
Voyager.
You go first.
I feel like there was always them attempting to write 5 seasons. It just never got leaked until now. To be honest, it never announced. So I feel like because that's something you don't just drop on like the producers after because I'm pretty sure they're done with the writing and all the voice stuff for the next batch of 13 episodes. They're just doing the animation and editing because those take forever.
Yeah, because the announcement of the next season came up a week ago by one of the writers on Twitter. We said
it wasn't even.
we start writing. So who knows? Because actually,
it wasn't even an announcement, right? It was just him saying we wrote 116 episodes. So mathematically, we figured it out, right?
Yes, but on that note, a bit of a segue. Do you guys know Buffy?
The Vampire Slayer?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I believe it was on that show where the writers actually came to the producers and told them, listen, tell us right now if you're renewed for another season or not, because we want to start wrapping everything up.
Yeah.
So so that's something, because if they did wrap everything up in season 4 part 2, let's call it that, then season 5 might feel, how do I say it, not needed. Not You get what I mean.
Yeah. I definitely do. It that is a good point. That's kind of like what you asked at the beginning. Uh, just on how long the season goes. If they did accidentally clean it up in 4th, well, and now they have the 5th season. What do we do? Let's do dragon racing the whole season. It's kind of boring, because they don't really have a direction to go.
Hey, go figure, they made a whole Harry Potter game which is only Quidditch. So
That's
You know
true.
what? You know what? I would like to see the 5th season be entirely Berk Home Improvement. How we built all the water towers, how we built the dragon feeding stations, with personal how-tos by Hiccup and company. So, you know what? I'm happy with that.
Home
Yeah.
Improvement Berk Edition.
let's
Yeah.
put it on Nick Jr. or something.
Yeah. Oh man, that's funny. And then we actually throw a couple dragon racing episodes in at that point. I want
Yeah.
at least one dragon racing episode. That's then real dragon racing or something like that.
Yeah, because in terms of Dragon Racing in the show, all we got was that episode 0, as I call it,
Yeah.
on the 2's Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm. And also on Netflix now, for that matter.
Yeah, it's on Netflix, right?
Yay.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we're done with that discussion, final question: how would you like the series to end? What is the final episode, final episode is for you?
Voyager, I need to think about this one because I have so many ideas right now that I need to just combine into one.
Well, I will think and talk at the same time. I
If
think
you want,
I
I
just
have an idea, so I can go first. You guys.
Yeah,
think about
you haven't ever gone first in this discussion. We need to let you go first. You are the host after all.
Because I'm the main
Please
host. So
Please,
okay.
please do.
So in terms of how it will end, I believe the best way to end it is where How to Train Your Dragon 2 starts, where we see Hiccup getting up with the morning, everything is right for the world, and then Stuart brings up the discussion about Hiccup taking over as chief, and he runs away. And that's pretty much where 2 starts. So it will be like this, in the context of the show, it will be like this cheerful ending of Hiccup is still Hiccup, but it will also lead to the second movie. In terms of a finale, I think somehow Dragon's Edge is not going to last because it's not there in the second movie. Maybe, like, I don't know how big they can make it, but maybe a big battle where Hiccup will win, of course, but Dragon's Edge won't survive this. So they'll have to go back to Berk.
Okay, that's actually a good idea, yeah. Voyager, do you have your ideas now? I have mine if you're still thinking.
I'll let you go.
Okay, so it's kind of like how, you know how to Train Your Dragon is very big on beginning is basically the same as the ending, but in reverse?
Yes.
So I think that if you remember the very, very, very first episode, where right after Astrid tells Hiccup, join the Berk Guard, it fades to Hiccup at the Dragon Academy closing an empty door. So, last episode of Race to the Edge, like, they've defeated the Dragon Rider, or the Dragon Hunters. They defeated themselves. No, they defeated the Dragon Hunters. And it's
Inner
Hiccup, like,
conflict.
Yeah.
It's kind of a popular plot point for the main character to have like an evil duplicate,
Yeah.
an evil version of itself. So maybe
but
it will be what's Hiccup backwards. Let me think. It will be
yeah,
Pokia riding a Day Fury.
Puka,
Yes,
yeah.
there you go.
Day Fury.
Copyright HC. Original idea. Put the money bags on the side. I'll count it later.
Copyright 2016. So yeah, so they defeat the dragon hunters. Everything's right with Will. As Hiccup, like, hey, it's like he's standing at his hut. He's like, I can't believe this is over. It's dark. He closes the hut door. They fly back to Berk, and it's just them flying away from Dragon's Edge. And then a nice happy fade to music as the sun sets, because symbolism, sunsetting, the end.
Yes.
Cool.
And a kiss. I'd like a kiss to be last episode. Why not?
Sure.
Yeah, you gotta lead in that Hicks thread.
Yeah, exactly.
As far as what I want, I think I agree with you both. I would like a tied up conclusion. The dragon hunters are, defeated, or they've gone away. Maybe Hiccup makes a comment about, I know there's still people out there, because obviously there's Drago and Eret, somewhere in the world. But, I've done all I can do. We're all happy. Hickstrid is a thing. The dragon ninjas have scampered off to wherever they're going to scamper off to. And all is right with the world. And we have our bow, and the end.
Yes. Actually, something I just improvised. Going back to the Hickstrid thing, how far do you think they will go? Just a relationship, or do you think they'll actually become engaged? And I'm asking this because of a very particular line in How to Train Your Dragon 2.
Yes. I think that's just Stoic being overexcited about Hiccup being the pride of Berk in the movies. But it's either his wish for them to become engaged or the fact that they are. But I believe it's him wishing, and eventually they'll probably be married anyway. How to Train Your Dragon 3 hopes, right? But yeah, I don't think they'll be engaged by the end of the season, of the whole series, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because right now they're not even they don't even acknowledge each other as a couple. They're they're the just friends guys, and it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
That'd be a very fast relationship right there if they were already engaged.
Yeah, something I always said, I'll probably say it in a future episode as well. In the beginning of the show, I didn't get couple out of them like I got friends with benefits. So...
I didn't get that either.
Because she did kiss him once I think it was in Riders.
Yes, it was Thawfest.
She's always kissed him, though. She kissed him in the first movie. That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, but still, it's something.
That was just her token of appreciation.
Yeah, really. She doesn't did she even kiss him in the last season? Or last batch of episodes?
Mm-mm.
No?
I think, so what I think we can obviously have another episode on this, but I feel like at first it was just like, you're a good guy, you're a good friend, I can't really do anything other than hug you and kiss you as to thank you, so I'll do it. And then as the seasons of Riders and Defenders of Berk gone on, she actually started to have a crush on him. But then between...
But then there's Gift of the Night Fury, which...
That's before, though.
Yeah, that's between the first movie and the show. And there are very subtle hints that say they're a couple.
I still think it's like the hero effect fading off. That's why Hiccup didn't pursue it. Because he's like, she thought he just keeps thanking me because I'm a hero. And so she developed a crush on him towards end of Defenders of Berk. But somewhere between, Hiccup, he did only think about dragons, right? As that cheeky line from Flightmare comes up. But he began to only think about dragons. So it kind of fades away. And then now that they're all together on an island, they're 19-year-olds. Good Lord, that's a parent's worst nightmare. But,
oh my God.
Sorry, I'm sorry. But
no, actually,
yeah,
where I live, what you just said is pretty common. So yeah, I know what you mean.
But then, Hiccup becomes
Thank God
more the leader.
alcohol wasn't invented.
Yeah, no, it was. So then Astrid sees him as like a leader or something. I don't know. Starts coming back, stuff like that. That's how I see it.
Okay, cool.
In terms of ending the series, they're not going to be engaged. They're just going to be in a relationship.
Voyager, you have anything to add on that?
I agree.
Cool.
Yeah, I kind of went on a very long tangent there.
Yeah. It's okay.
I have ideas.
Cool. You'll
I think we
write.
all do.
Yep, we can all write the spin-off once How to Train Your Dragon 3 is out and about. And
Yeah.
yeah,
We'll
but
we'll
I
s-
think
we'll come back to these and just see how right or wrong we were.
yeah,
Mostly me because I'm the one who predicts everything and says this will probably happen. Then I'm
Yeah.
just gonna be like, dang, I was just so wrong. I'm such an idiot.
Yeah, the final
I'll have to
episode.
start counting the
Confirmed
predictions.
now. The final episode of the Berkcast will be us listening to ourselves and saying, "Man, Rush was wrong the entire time."
Yeah, it's like it's like oh, Rush just cut out. No, he left the call. He quit Skype. What happened to him? Yeah.
He's
so
gone,
if
guys.
anybody, yeah, he's just gone.
Whoa.
I never post on Forum Vine ever again.
Jeez.
It's just I just leave the internet. It's like I was too wrong. Anybody listening want to keep a wrong counter or a prediction counter, as Voyager said for Rush, do it, and then I will endorse it, and I will accept when I'm wrong.
Okay,
Do it.
This conversation has gone dark. Very
Yeah.
dark. Okay, so, but I think that's pretty much it. Anything you want to add?
I got nothing. Voyager. Any random questions?
Yeah, I gotta ask a random question because I'm trying to make this a thing.
ahead.
What's your favorite art style?
My favorite
Ooh.
art style?
That's a good
Right.
one.
You know what? I think I'll say cell shading. Like,
Okay.
I don't. It's more in games, but I think Tangled and to some extent Frozen try to do it, which is it's obviously CG, but there's a 2D animated feel to it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I like it's like the best of both worlds, and both of these films just look amazing. Hate on them as much as you want, if you want, but they look amazing.
Yeah, they
They
do.
do, yeah.
Mine would have to be either photorealism. One of my favorite classes that I took had a photorealist just section that we did on one guy. And it was crazy. He did these gigantic paintings, and they were just the faces. And I thought they were photos, but they aren't. That or pointillism, because those are also. It's really cool how you can make. You've all seen those pictures just of like a bunch of people, but they're so small that they make another picture of another face. So it's kind of like that, how you can make a picture with just tiny little dots connecting them.
Right. Mine is probably between realism, which isn't, it's not quite photorealism, but you're doing a lot of lighting and shading and really focusing on that. And then comic book style. I like the drama in comic book style. And I really enjoy, personally, I enjoy drawing comic book style because I get to use my pens and just make things look cool.
Yeah,
So,
I agree.
Real quick to reference that, when you say comic book style, you're talking about like graphic novels, where they how we had the little short Burning Midnight from How to Train Your Dragon. That style.
Right.
Okay.
So basically, there's color for the light spots, but shadows are basically just black ink.
Yes, shadows.
Yes.
I love the
Yeah.
shadowing in graphic novels. That is a good thing.
Yeah, actually, to go back to what I said at the beginning of this question, I believe the entire How to Train a Dragon graphic novels are going to be like this, but for Burning Midnight, it kind of, what I said, the combination of 3D and 2D, but reverse, where it looks 2D, but it has the depth of 3D.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually That's a good point.
Yeah, and
That's all in your shading, really.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, I think that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for the interesting discussion. Thank the listeners for listening. I was HC.
I'm Rush.
I'm Voyager.
And this has been the Berkcast. See you guys next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.